Hi guys, it's me, HD, and welcome tonight to this qualifying preview for qualifying, of course, for tomorrow for the 2022 British Grand Prix. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If this is the first time you're joining me for the British Grand Prix weekend, hello to you, and hopefully you'll join me for the big events this weekend, obviously qualifying and the race itself on Sunday. But obviously in tonight's stream, what we're going to do is look at the teams, how they did really in the only one dry session in practice 2. We're going to forget about practice 1 because practice 1 was wet and what do you call it? They didn't really do any running in practice 1. A lot of people only did like 3 laps at most in practice 1. So yeah, practice 1 we're just going to completely forget about. So yeah, we'll look at practice 2, look at, who was quickest, who wasn't, the pace of the different cars. Sadly, won't be able to get into sector time data tonight because I don't have it. I did search for it online and I just couldn't find any data in terms of the sector by sector, who was quickest in what sector. But we'll still get into the actual lap times themselves and the pace of the cars. Also some stats to go into qualifying tomorrow, some key stats to remember in regards to the top drivers and top teams. And obviously during the stream I will give my thoughts as to who I expect to be where in qualifying. And also during the stream, make sure guys in the live chat to let me know who you think will finish where in qualifying tomorrow. And as well, if I do miss your comment at any point during the stream, then make sure to put it in the comment section down below and I will get to it probably at a later date. But yeah, that's what we're going to be doing obviously tonight. Hopefully, no matter what time it is in your part of the world, hopefully you're all having a good day. And hopefully, yeah, with me tonight, you'll join me in previewing qualifying for the British Grand Prix tomorrow. And also, make sure to stick around to the end of the stream because I will get into my exact schedule for tomorrow, qualifying day at Silverstone, because it's going to be a very busy day on the channel during the, the bulk of the afternoon. So yeah, make sure to stick around to the end for that. Now, let's get into the only really representative practice session of the weekend so far, which was, sadly, practice 2. And here are the results from them. So Carlos Sainz ended up quickest, from Lewis Hamilton second and Lando Norris third. What a top 3 that would be in qualifying. And then it was Max Verstappen in 4th, Charles Leclerc 5th, and then Alonso, Perez, Russell, Ricciardo, Stroll completing the top 10. And then the rest of the order was Bottas, Vettel, Ocon, Albon, Zhou, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Gasly, Schumacher, and Latifi. So yeah, that was the final finishing order. And yeah, the biggest surprises absolutely have to be Mercedes and McLaren, especially McLaren, because obviously compared to Mercedes, McLaren have not been that quick at all this season, except for maybe 1 or 2 races here and there. But also, McLaren have not really brought that many upgrades to this Grand Prix weekend. They've only just really, set the car up or reconfigured the car in a way that, best suits the track rather than bringing any major updates. So to be, up in 3rd place in practice 2 is an absolutely amazing result there for Lando, an amazing lap. I don't think he will, obviously, maintain that tomorrow. That would be an amazing drive from Lando if he was to do that. But it is looking, that top 10, very competitive, and definitely, as I'll get on to very soon, Mercedes look pretty good. Even though, yes, Russell is quite far behind the second Mercedes. I think Lewis Hamilton's pace is very encouraging to see in the Mercedes. And given the updates Mercedes have brought, I think definitely Mercedes' pace is probably a lot more representative of where they will be, possibly in qualifying tomorrow, rather than, where Norris is in the McLaren. But I have to say, McLaren's pace in practice 2 was definitely quite a bit better than I expected it to be coming into the weekend. And yeah, I think we should just probably get straight into the teams. And of course, we'll start with Red Bull Racing, who didn't have a great practice session. Both drivers didn't really get great laps on the soft compound tyre. Max Verstappen ended up 4th, 0.2 of a second behind Carlos Sainz, and it did look, to be honest, even when Max was doing the best he could out there, it did look as though that the Red Bull just on a single lap doesn't seem to be as quick as the Ferrari car, which I thought coming into the weekend was definitely possible. I did say in my preview last night that for the weekend that I wouldn't be surprised and I would probably predict Ferrari to be on pole position with Charles Leclerc this weekend. But yeah, Red Bull still, weren't probably as close to Ferrari as they could have been. Obviously, the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz, the quickest of all in practice too. I think they'll definitely improve, Red Bull. When we get to qualifying day, they'll definitely close the gap to Ferrari in terms of single lap pace. But it is looking as though Ferrari do have the edge over Red Bull in or over a single lap. And definitely, I would probably say in the first sector, if I was to guess, where Ferrari were gaining quite a bit of time, it would have to be that first sector where the Ferrari is definitely going to be at its best, when the Red Bull really gets to its best through the middle sector. But not a terrible day for Red Bull. Despite that, we didn't really hear anything about what their race pace was like in practice 2. But yeah, their single lap pace, not great, but nothing terrible so far. But yeah, I still think, we'll get on to Mercedes soon, but I still think that, I still think that Red Bull and Max Verstappen will be at least on the front row tomorrow. I'd be very surprised if that, was not the case in qualifying tomorrow. Yes, Mercedes looking, pretty quick. Obviously, not Lando Norris up there, but Verstappen, it's only 0.2 off, and we do know from this season so far that Red Bull do tend to be a bit quicker on a Saturday than they are on a Friday. So yeah, I think Red Bull will still be fine, and when it matters, I think they'll absolutely be up there. Now, in terms of upgrades, Red Bull have not brought a massive amount, but there has been one upgrade that they have brought to this Grand Prix that has caught the eye of some people. Let me just quickly show that on screen. And here it is. Red Bull have brought a reshaped engine cover as part of the upgrade package. It's said to increase the efficiency of the beam wing. And you can see here, definitely a lot tighter packaging around the rear end. And definitely quite a bit different to what it was previously from the Red Bull, before this Grand Prix weekend. So they're looking, to get it as tight up back there as possible. And yeah, we'll see if in qualifying and the race, whether this does improve their pace somewhat. If it does, it's not going to be a massive amount, to be honest. Maybe 1/10 of a second, these type of upgrades to their car. But yeah, Red Bull still looking okay, and I think definitely will still be pretty close and quick in the fight for pole position tomorrow. But let's get into some stats regarding Red Bull with qualifying at Silverstone. Now, Max Verstappen does have a pole position at Silverstone from 2021. Yes, I know it was the pole position because he won the sprint race last year. And obviously, sprint qualifying is an abnormal qualifying session compared to what we normally get and what we're going to get this weekend. But technically speaking, Max Verstappen did get pole position at Silverstone last year. Red Bull have also taken pole at Silverstone 4 times since 2009, and they did dominate this track in terms of qualifying when they were dominating Formula 1 about 10 to 12 years ago. And also Red Bull have taken pole position 3 times in 2022 at Jeddah, Imola, and the last Grand Prix in Montreal. So not a great qualifying record this season. It's really been Leclerc and Ferrari who have been the stars of qualifying, and I expect them to be that way tomorrow, given the pace Ferrari have shown so far over a single lap. from the running we've seen so far, but Red Bull definitely will be in the fight. There is no doubt about that. But now we'll move on to the Ferrari team, who had a decent day. Carlos Sainz, we'll start with him. Yeah, very quick. Good to see that Carlos Sainz was, right up there, doing really the best he could. Didn't really seem to make any big errors in practice too. And the Ferrari car, you have to say, looked very, very quick out there on track and was, 0.2 of a second quicker? I think almost 0.2 of a second quicker than the next quickest car. So yeah, a very good lap there from Sainz. And it's good to see that after Canada, Sainz is looking nice and confident. Hopefully can continue that throughout the weekend. Carlos does actually have a pretty good record here at Silverstone. I think he's finishing the points here at Silverstone in every race since 2018. I think the only race he didn't finish in the points here was 2020, where he had the puncture when he was running in 4th place, and also 2017 when his teammate, the Russian Torpedo, took him out. So, historically speaking, it's a very good track for Sainz, and he did finish here, I think, 6th at the British Grand Prix last year, despite starting like 13th on the grid. So, yeah, expect Carlos Sainz to be competitive this weekend. And yeah, Ferrari over a single lap looking pretty good themselves. I did want to quickly, though, when it came to Charles Leclerc, just read out some information regarding Leclerc, because, because there were a couple issues for him in practice too. Let me have a quick look. So apparently Leclerc had dashboard issues. He can't see whether he's going quicker or not, and he said it was disturbing him. And also he was having, I think, sensor problems earlier. So yeah, not great for Charles Leclerc. Hopefully doesn't suffer any big reliability trouble in this weekend's Grand Prix. I mean, for me, the championship is already wrapped up, but if he was to have another reliability problem, it would absolutely seal the deal for people out there who still think that Leclerc and Ferrari have a chance. But honestly, given what I've seen so far, I'm not really surprised by Ferrari's pace. And I do think they have to be the favourites for pole position. I don't think they're the favourites to win the race on Sunday, because I don't think they'll have the absolute quickest car on Sunday. And also, we'll get into race pace in a moment, because a certain team was looking pretty good in practice too. But yeah, in terms of pole position and qualifying, I think Ferrari are the team to beat. And I still would say Charles Leclerc is the man to beat, because we know from this season that Leclerc has been absolutely amazing in qualifying. Some stunning laps this season, and he has been, without a doubt, the man on a Saturday. Quite clearly better than the rest. But it will be interesting as well, though, to see what Carlos Sainz can do in the Ferrari, and whether he could possibly snatch pole position. Of course, Carlos has never had pole position in his Formula One career, or of course a race win. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what could happen there. But yeah, Ferrari definitely the favourites, I would say, for pole position. But let's quickly get into some stats regarding them going into qualifying. Charles Leclerc has never taken pole position at Silverstone. He's always been quick here. He was 3rd in 2019, I think 4th last year, and 4th, I think, in 2020 in one of the races at Silverstone. So he's always been very quick here, but never taken pole position. And to be honest, he's never really had a car that could take pole position. So he will be absolutely right up there tomorrow, and is, for me, the favourite for pole position. Ferrari, though, have only taken pole at Silverstone once since 2010. That was Fernando Alonso in that very wet qualifying session in 2012. Yeah, a very, very barren run for the Ferrari team. And if you go and look back before 2012, for their last pole position before, 2012 at Silverstone, you'd have to go back to 2003 with Rubens Barrichello. They've only had pole position four times Ferrari at Silverstone in the 21st century. It's not been, from a qualifying perspective, a track where Ferrari has great success. So, yeah, hopefully they can add a pole position to their not so great record in the 21st century tomorrow, and definitely looking very good for that. But one last thing I'm just going to quickly check is Ferrari and the situation about upgrades, because I believe I did see that Ferrari have brought an upgrade of some sort. Let me have a quick look. So Ferrari have brought upgrades to Silverstone. I don't think I can show them because I don't think there's good enough pictures, unfortunately. But Ferrari's upgrades are a new engine cover, a side pod undercut revision, new rear view mirrors, and outboard stay redesign. So those are the upgrades for Ferrari for this weekend. Hopefully they will, do the job and hopefully make the car just that little bit quicker this weekend, and also for the races coming up. And it looks as though I would say Ferrari have probably brought more upgrades here than Red Bull have, which is good to see, and upgrades that will probably make an actual difference. So yeah, hopefully for Ferrari it actually does make a difference. But now we'll move on to the Silver Arrows Mercedes. And yeah, very good day for them. Lewis Hamilton, the second quickest man in practice 2, and only just under 0.2 of a second slower than Carlos Sainz. An amazing lap from Lewis Hamilton. And Mercedes definitely, when I was looking at their car, the onboard shots during practice 2, definitely looked a lot better than it has in the last few races. Obviously, a lot less bumpy here at the Silverstone track compared to Montreal, Baku, and Monaco. So they're going to do better here automatically anyway. But there was some complaints from Lewis Hamilton, who said he was having some bouncing in the high-speed corners that was, affecting his performance. But yeah, a pretty good day, I would have to say for Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton. And hopefully, I mean, it's pretty hard to tell because we only had one dry session, and obviously the grip in practice 2 wouldn't have been that great. It would have been the same really as the grip you would get in a practice 1 session if it was a totally dry weekend. So yeah, not the most representative track conditions, but a good indicator to see from Mercedes, where they could possibly be this weekend. Obviously, George Russell was quite far behind Hamilton. I think Russell can definitely improve his pace in qualifying. I don't think he'll be quite that far behind. Another positive, though, for Mercedes is that at one point, when F1 was doing their race runs, Mercedes were matching Ferrari on race pace. When Russell was on the hard compound tyre, he was matching Leclerc on the medium and Sainz on the soft. Two things that points to is, one, the Mercedes car is definitely a lot quicker this weekend than it has been in the last 2 or 3 races. But also, no surprise really, that the hard compound tyre is going to be the best race tyre. We know tyre wear is absolutely critical around this track. Obviously, if you watch the 2020 British Grand Prix, you'll know that tyre wear is very, very important here. And looking after tyres is just a massive thing that, if you can look after your tyres and keep them in good condition, it can absolutely allow you to get a very good result out of whatever, car you have for the weekend. But, yeah, I think things are looking pretty good for Mercedes. And if I was a Mercedes fan, I wouldn't be quite thinking, oh, yeah, we can win the Grand Prix this weekend. But I think a podium is absolutely possible. It will still require certain things going their way to a certain degree. But, yeah, I think given what I've seen so far, there is definitely a possibility of that. But I just quickly wanted to get into upgrades for the Mercedes team. Let me just quickly find this on Twitter and then read it out. So these are the upgrades. Front suspension tweaked for performance of flow conditioning. Volume was added to the side of the chassis local to push rod. And FW, what the hell was I saying? That was, I don't know, a T and a W mixed together or something. And FTWB rear leg along with fillet extensions with these where these legs meet the chassis. Side pod inlets for flow conditioning. Hold on. Actually, let me find a more simple explanation for the upgrades than that, because that's a bit too far. So yeah, Mercedes' upgrades: a new front suspension, side pod inlet, a new floor, and a new rear wing. Those are the upgrades for Mercedes, and if they all work, then you'd have to say that Mercedes, if they all work, they should give them an extra half a second, I reckon. Because that, a new front suspension, floor, rear wing, and side pod inlet, I mean, that, if they all work to the maximum that they should work, then, like I said, it should give them a half a second pace advantage compared to where they used to be before this Grand Prix. So, I think, like I said, I don't think they'll get pole, but I think Lewis Hamilton could get in the top 3 tomorrow. Practice 3 will be a great indicator as to genuinely what is the pace of the Mercedes car. But I think definitely a top 3 is possible with Lewis Hamilton. With George Russell, maybe a 5th place at best for Russell. His pace, I have to say, is not looking great. So far this weekend. Obviously, we've only had one dry session, so it's pretty hard to tell. But yeah, I think definitely a top 3 in qualifying is possible. Then who knows, if they've got very good race pace, which we have seen this season. I mean, we saw it in Canada. They were only half a second a lap off the pace of the front runners before these upgrades. Who knows what they could be like this weekend at Silverstone. They could absolutely have a chance at winning the Grand Prix. It absolutely could happen. Does depend, though, obviously, on, most likely, Lewis Hamilton's grid position, or the grid position, obviously, of the highest placed Mercedes car. But most likely, the highest placed Mercedes car is going to be Lewis Hamilton. And we'll quickly get into some stats regarding Hamilton. He has taken pole at Silverstone 7 times in his career. So if he does take another pole position, it would exactly be a surprise from a historic, not a historic point of view. He had pole position here in his first ever British Grand Prix in 2007, and also in 2013, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2020, and 2021, did he? Hold on, have I got that correct? Hold on, I just need to make sure I've got that correct, because I think I might have actually got it wrong. He's had pole position that many times at Silverstone that I probably lost count, but hold on. So yeah, 2007, 15, 16, 17, 18... 20. No, I think I accidentally counted 2019, but he didn't have pole in 2019. It was Valtteri Bottas that day. But yeah, going for pole position number 8 this weekend. It would be fantastic if he did so, obviously, for the home crowd. Mercedes have taken pole position at Silverstone 8 times since 2014. And actually, since 2014, the last person to start on pole position for the British Grand Prix that was not a Mercedes was Max Verstappen last year. So yeah, this has been a great track for Mercedes. And Lewis's last pole in Formula 1 was in Saudi Arabia in 2021. That was, I think, the first weekend of December last year, which feels a long, long, long time ago. It was more like a year ago than only about, 6 months ago, to be honest. But yeah, if he is quick enough and the Mercedes car is quick enough for pole position, then honestly, I'm not going to say I hope he gets pole position, because honestly, I don't care. As long as we get a good, close fight for pole position that leads to a good, close fight for the race on a Sunday, I don't really care who gets pole. But it would definitely spice things up if Lewis Hamilton was on pole position for the British Grand Prix on Sunday. But yeah, hopefully Mercedes will show some good speed tomorrow. Now we'll go on to the McLaren team. And yeah, Lando Norris, an amazing lap he did in practice too. Not quite sure how he did that, to be honest, because one, we didn't expect the McLaren car to be that quick this weekend. I mean, I thought they would be probably getting in the top 10 with Norris, around 8th place, something like that. But to be 3rd and just about 0.2 of a second off the front running pace in practice too was an amazing lap there from Lando. But I don't think that will translate itself into qualifying. I would be very surprised if Lando ended up, in the top 5 even on the grid. I'd be very, very surprised at that. I think 7th or 8th is probably where Lando Norris will be. Hopefully he's not too far off the pace of the front runners in qualifying. But yeah, like I said, most likely I think he will be 7th or 8th, because that's realistically the best position I think McLaren will end up in qualifying. For Daniel Ricciardo, obviously miles off the pace of his teammate, which is not great to see. But I think Ricciardo's pace and his position of 9th place a lot more representative of where McLaren really are. I think Norris's lap was definitely aided by probably the top teams not pushing quite as hard as McLaren, but also Norris, I think, probably did pull out just an absolutely barnstorming lap in practice too. But McLaren definitely looking better and quicker than I thought they would. I thought they would probably be, this weekend, the 5th or 6th best car out there, but they look as though they could be best of the rest outside of the top 3, which would be very, very good. So yeah, hopefully for McLaren, that is that's where they are for this weekend, because obviously with Alpine bringing some upgrades to this Grand Prix and really starting to get after McLaren in the Constructors' Championship, and so are Alfa Romeo as well, McLaren, with them not bringing really any more upgrades to this car for this year, which they have said that they're not really going to be able to, because they are going to go over the budget cap if they do by quite a bit. McLaren do need these strong qualifying results and then translate into a good race result as much as they can in 2022, because if they, the fight for 4th place in the championship is going to be a very close one between McLaren and most likely Alpine. So yeah, McLaren do need to pull out all the stops to finish in 4th place. And given the car McLaren have, if they do finish 4th in the championship this year, that would be a pretty good result. It wouldn't be a great result for them, because I think McLaren do need to be really pushing after the top 3 now, given what they've been like in the last 2 or 3 years. But yeah, that's got to be the aim for the rest of the season. But yeah, looking better than expected so far this weekend. And I have looked, by the way, McLaren have not brought any upgrades that I can see. If they have, it's a very, very small one for them. I have seen people say about what the expected upgrades for McLaren from the last couple of days, but I haven't seen anything in regards to the actual upgrades for McLaren that have been confirmed on this Friday practice day. So yeah, don't think that McLaren have really brought any upgrades to the car, which we'll see how that does for them in qualifying tomorrow. But let's quickly get into some stats regarding McLaren and Lando Norris. So Lando Norris, definitely look out for him in qualifying tomorrow because he's qualified inside the top 10 at every F1 race he has done at Silverstone. I think 2019 he was 8th on the grid, and then 2020 in the 2 races there he was 5th and 10th, and then last year I think he was 5th on the grid for McLaren, and then also finished 4th in the race last year. So yeah, Lando has a fantastic record here at the British Grand Prix. And also, just to notify you guys as to, how long it's been for McLaren since their last pole position at Silverstone. It was in 2007 with Lewis Hamilton. 15 years ago. That's how long it's been since McLaren were on pole position at Silverstone. And yeah, they're not going to be getting on pole this weekend because they just don't have the car to quite do that. But that is the front 4 teams so far, so I'll cut back to these pictures. Guys, let me know right now in the live chat, for the top teams and drivers, how do you think they will do in qualifying tomorrow? Let me know in the live chat, and I'll make sure to read out as many of your comments as I can in the next few minutes or so. Just wanted to say, don't forget to subscribe for anyone new watching for more content like this, because I'll be live for quite a while tomorrow, covering qualifying day at Silverstone. The plan is that I'm going to be live at 11:45 a.m. UK time till 1 p.m. UK time for the practice 3 watch along. Then from 1 p.m. till 3 p.m. UK time, I'll be building up to qualifying, and that'll be the qualifying watch along beginning at 1 p.m. UK time. And then from 3 till 4 p.m. will be the session itself, and then from 4 till 4:30 p.m. UK time will be the qualifying reaction. We'll do a brief reaction to what happened in qualifying itself. So yeah, that's what's happening on the channel tomorrow, and hopefully if you are new to the channel you can join me for that. If you want to, then make sure to subscribe, bottom right of the screen, you can do it right there. And for everyone watching, don't forget to smash the like button and share this video and channel everywhere you can. And also don't forget to follow me on Twitter at ChazHD5. But yeah, let me read out some comments in chat. Great to see a good portion of you here. By the way, hopefully everyone who is commenting in chat, and hopefully everyone who is watching is doing well. Lab Gorilla says, I have bet on Leclerc to be on pole and Verstappen to win. Yeah, I think that's pretty sensible. I mean, I think there's a decent chance that that could be wrong, but if I was to predict, what would happen this weekend in terms of the who gets pole, who wins the race, I'd probably go for that as well this weekend. And also says, I genuinely think that at such a high power track, the Ferrari won't last the full length of the Grand Prix. Well, hopefully they can, because that would be an absolute disaster for them, especially if Mercedes are, really quick, because Mercedes are only 40 points behind them in the Constructors' Championship. So Ferrari do have reliability problems on Sunday. Mercedes could end up being very close to Ferrari in the championship going into the Austrian Grand Prix next weekend. So yeah, hopefully that is not the case at Ferrari. And I'll just move on to this picture of Sainz. Very good picture of the Ferrari car, the beautiful Ferrari car of 2022. Let's have a look at some more comments. Crystal Racing, great to see you, says, got a cheeky feeling Merc might have a strong weekend and threaten for the win. George will be their main man. I'm going to say Hamilton, to be honest. I think Russell will be strong as well, but I think Lewis is going to be the main man for them because I think given that, Mercedes obviously this season have massively been on the back foot and they've not had a chance really at winning a race this season. And they've only had, how many podiums have they had this season? Is it 4 podiums this season? Which is pretty good considering how slow that car's been, to be honest. But they've not been really quick enough for a podium this season at any point. So I think Lewis, because he knows how hard he'll have to push and how great he'll have to be, this weekend to get a podium even. I think he'll be on absolutely top form, and we saw that in Canada. Lewis was very, very good in Canada, and I think definitely he will be the main man for Mercedes this weekend. Crystal Racing also says that Ferrari seriously needs to sort out their strategy, team, and reliability, but how many times have we said that? Way too many is the answer to that. Yeah. I don't really know. There's not much more to say about Ferrari at this point. I mean, we know what they are, and they know what they are, probably. We just have to deal with it. Let's have another look. Some more comments. Lab Gorilla says Ferrari hopefully have extra elastic bands holding the pistons in place for their upgrade. Elaine says can't wait for tomorrow's super stream. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, honestly. I mean, I'm probably, because obviously the first couple times of doing it, because I'm going to be doing it on Sunday as well, it's going to be tiring, no doubt about it, but I have to, I mean, if I didn't do those super streams or, you know, really long streams where I do it all together, I'd have to do all of those bits of content anyway, just with breaks in between. And for me, there's no real point doing that, which is why I'm going to do it all together. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it. And hopefully it will be a better experience for people watching, because, you know, you can tune in at different points if necessary. Obviously, I don't expect everyone to watch for the entire, I mean, tomorrow I'm going to be live for what, 5 hours, and then 6.5 hours on Sunday. So yeah, I don't expect everyone to be watching every part of the stream, but I think, yeah, for the most important parts of the day, I think, you know, it'll be good for you guys. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully we get a lot of people watching tomorrow and Sunday. Crystal Racing says Ricciardo is just mid now. Well, last couple weekends, before this weekend obviously, last couple race weekends, I think he's done very well. I think the McLaren car's just not been that quick at those weekends. Baku, I thought, was a very good weekend from him. Canada, I thought, maybe not very good, but I thought he did well. And to be honest, I thought he did the best he could. McLaren were just very slow in Canada. So, yeah, I don't think Ricciardo really could have done any more in the last couple of Grand Prix. And as long as Ricciardo finishes in the top 10 this weekend, say in quali and the race, or at least the race, then I think that's good enough. I don't think we can expect him to be ahead of Norris this weekend, given how good Norris is at Silverstone. But move on to a picture of Hamilton. Aline asks, do you guys think that Norris will be a world champion one day? I have a video coming on this about Lando Norris, about, you know, just how good he really is, which I'm going to upload in the summer break, and like what he could achieve in Formula One realistically. I think with Lando, I think he's only good enough to win a world championship depending on the situation. For example, whether it's at McLaren or another team, if he gets into a car that is quite clearly quicker than the rest, then I think definitely he can do it. And I think definitely as well he can contend for a championship even in an equal car to, say, a Verstappen or a Leclerc. I think definitely is a contender even in an equalish car. But to win one, I think he would have to have a car that was quicker than everyone else, to be honest, because I don't think he's quite that great to win a championship in a car that is, say, the second quickest on the grid. I don't think he's quite that great as of yet, but hopefully he can get that good. Let me have a look at some more comments here. Aline says maybe that Norris will move to Mercedes when Hamilton retires. Maybe, maybe. I mean, Lando Norris has signed a contract to stay at McLaren until the end of 2025, so possibly. But that I think that's only going to happen if Lewis, Norris is a direct replacement for Hamilton. That's only going to happen if Lewis signs another 1 to 2 year contract at Mercedes, which I don't think is very likely given where Mercedes are at the moment. So, yeah, we'll see. Let's have some other comments here. Lab Gorilla says, oh, then video from Channel 4, audio from Chaz sounds a pretty sweet deal. Yeah. Well, I've I think other people have said to me in the past that sometimes they'll have the coverage on and then they'll have the audio on for me, because they think I'm a better commentator, which I have to say, I don't quite agree with, and that's a very flattering compliment. But yeah, hopefully, if you do think I'm that good, hopefully, you can do that for this weekend. But I think I'll move on now probably to the rest of the teams. So let's now get into Alpine, who didn't seem to be that quick today. I mean, Fernando Alonso was up in 6th place, but he was quite far behind, for example, Lando Norris in the McLaren by I think was it half a second was Alonso. So yeah, I'm very surprised at the lack of speed from Alpine today. Not quite sure why that is. Again, maybe Norris has pulled out an absolutely amazing lap. Maybe the McLaren is a bit quicker this weekend than I expected. Who knows? But I thought Alpine would be a bit quicker than that compared to Norris and the McLaren. So yeah, a bit of a surprise there, but still pretty good. Alonso, I think, definitely will be in the top 10 this weekend. So yeah, that's no problem there. Esteban Ocon, though, not great. His result in practice too, I think, was at 13th place. So yeah, not great pace from him. I mean, if you look at Ocon's pace historically at Silverstone, it's never been great. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Ocon was, say, knocked out in Q2. I mean, he's always been in the top 10 in the race, I think, most times than not, but he's never been, top 8, top 7 on a consistent basis like he has been sometimes at other circuits. So, yeah, Ocon not looking great, but not necessarily a surprise. But Fernando Alonso definitely will be in the top 10, and we can see already from this weekend that Alonso is already very, very quick. Now, I did show this last night, but I'm going to show it again, and it's the upgrades for the Alpine. Here it is, the on the side pod here, a bit more of an aggressive, bit more of an aggressive side pod design, and also towards the exit of the, towards the back of the car, towards the engine cover. Definitely a more aggressive design on the Alpine car. So hopefully this does work for Alpine. These pictures were from yesterday. And yeah, looking pretty good there on the Alpine. So hopefully that does work for them. But yeah, hopefully Alpine can have a decent weekend. Fernando Alonso getting into the top 10, and Ocon, if he is to get knocked out, say in Q2, hopefully it's in 11th or 12th place rather than, 14th or 15th, because I reckon Ocon could probably get into the points from an 11th or a 12th place on the grid. So yeah, Alpine, despite not looking as quick as I expected, they still look pretty good. And yeah, let's now move on to Alfa Romeo, who didn't have a great day. I mean, Bottas did top practice 1, but obviously it was a massively rain-affected session, so not really, representative. But at least he got another first place in a practice session, I guess, for him. But yeah, in practice 2, yeah, Alfa Romeo 11th and 15th, which is not terrible. I mean, if they can get both cars just outside of the top 10 in qualifying, that wouldn't be a bad result, because we have seen the Alfa Romeo has very good race pace, and it has done all season long. So that wouldn't be necessarily a terrible result, but I did expect a slight bit more than what they've shown so far. So yeah, not great for Alfa Romeo. Hopefully they can get a decent result. Valtteri Bottas, as we know, is very quick here at Silverstone. Out-qualified Lewis Hamilton twice here in his Mercedes career in 2019 and 2020. And in those races where he did out-qualify, Hamilton was also pretty quick compared to Hamilton and put up a pretty good fight as well against Lewis. So Valtteri Bottas is definitely a very quick man for the track. So hopefully he will be a contender for points this weekend. And hopefully Zhou Guanyu can be as well. Obviously Zhou, I think, has lived in the UK for a while and has raced around Silverstone quite a lot. So you'd expect Zhou to be, pretty quick this weekend. And hopefully he can be. But no new upgrades, by the way, for Alfa Romeo. They were planning to bring a new front wing, but they couldn't because of the budget cap, because they would have probably gone a bit too far. Maybe not over, but they would have been probably pushing it if they brought a new front wing to this Grand Prix. So yeah, Alfa Romeo, no new upgrades for them. And now we will go on to, not them, Haas F1. And I can't actually remember where they finished in practice too. Probably not that great. Let me have a look. 17th and 19th. So yeah, absolute shit from the Haas F1 team. Not really a surprise that they're, quite far behind the people in the top 10. A bit surprising that they're that bad, I have to say. 17th and 19th. That's pretty much how slow they were in Baku, I remember, after practice too. So yeah, not good for Haas F1. I thought they would have been probably around 13th, 14th, to be honest. But yeah, 17th and 19th is pretty pathetic in practice too. And yeah, they're not looking good for the weekend. Hopefully Mick Schumacher can somehow out-qualify or outrace his teammate Kevin Magnussen. That'd be a pretty good result for him. But yeah, not great for them. For Haas F1, and yeah, they're not going to do anything this weekend. Probably will get one car knocked out in Q1. Hopefully, it's not Mick Schumacher, because he had a pretty good race, didn't he, at Canada? And hopefully, he doesn't let that little small bit of momentum from the Canadian Grand Prix, fall away. So yeah, hopefully he can get a decent result tomorrow. Obviously, like I've already explained, Haas F1 have not brought any upgrades, and they aren't going to bring any into the Hungarian Grand Prix, and that'll be their last upgrade of the season. So, yeah, not really surprised that they are, quite far off the pace. We'll now go to AlphaTauri, who were not actually that quick. Don't really know why. I mean, they did say, I think Gasly said in an interview that, their car is an absolute menace, basically, in the fast corners. But I didn't think they would be that bad. I thought they would be quite a bit quicker than they were in practice. I mean, in the fast corners at Barcelona, we did also see this, that AlphaTauri were pretty bad compared to how they've been at other tracks with slower corners. Such as Baku, where they were very, very good. But yeah, to be where they weren't, Gasly to be, I think Gasly was 18th in practice too. Yeah, that's pretty bad for the team. So yeah, don't really understand why they are so slow. They maybe not maybe not, be in the top 10 with their car. Maybe they're not that quick that they should be, absolutely that, far up. But I did say coming into the weekend, because of Gasly's good record in qualifying here at Silverstone, I thought Gasly would be a top 10 contender for sure. So for him to be that far down is quite alarming here in practice too, which, is very disappointing, because obviously we want to see Pierre Gasly right up there, but that's not going to be probably the case this weekend. I'm just going to quickly check to see if there's any AlphaTauri upgrades. Obviously, I did check last night, but I didn't get a good enough answer from Twitter. And no upgrades. I have seen as well some people on Twitter speculating that AlphaTauri have not brought any upgrades this season, and that maybe Red Bull are, obviously because Red Bull own, obviously, Red Bull, the team, and the AlphaTauri team as well. Maybe that Red Bull have taken up all the wind tunnel time, and maybe spent all the money that AlphaTauri would need for their car, to develop the Red Bull car. So yeah, maybe we'll see that and more of that later in the season. But yeah, that's a little rumor that I have seen on Twitter. And also, I think Sonoda was up in 16th place, by the way, for AlphaTauri. I would say, actually, thinking about it, with the cost cap or the budget cap, isn't that technically a way that Red Bull could get away with going over the budget by spending some of AlphaTauri's? Because obviously they're both owned by the same team. So couldn't Red Bull get away with spending some of AlphaTauri's money and then making it look like AlphaTauri spent it rather than Red Bull? Isn't that a way that Red Bull can get around the budget cap? Not sure about that. Maybe I'm massively wrong, but that seems to me to be a massive loophole, unless I'm forgetting something pretty obvious that means that it isn't a loophole. But yeah. Anyway, let's move on to Aston Martin, who, with Lance Stroll, looked pretty good despite him spinning off at the end of practice 1. He ended up in P10 in practice 2. Sebastian Vettel surprisingly down in, I think, 13th or 14th place. So yeah, that's a bit of a surprise there, because Vettel should be ahead of Stroll at this track. Vettel does have a pretty good record here at Silverstone. So yeah, don't quite understand why that is, but at least Stroll put it up in the top 10, and at least the pace from the Aston Martin car is is looking good, so that when Vettel shows some better speed, hopefully he can put it up in the top 10 and get a decent position for the Grand Prix. And yeah, Aston Martin looking pretty decent so far, and I believe that I believe that Aston Martin have brought upgrades this weekend. I'm just going to quickly see if there's a exact confirmation of their upgrades. Just looking on Twitter to see. I think I said last night that they were revising their B car that they brought to Barcelona. So this new Aston Martin is a revised version of that B car. So yeah, there's not like a list of all the different parts that they have brought, like we obviously read out earlier with Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari. But yeah, hopefully those upgrades can give them, say, an extra quarter of a second, probably. I mean, if that's what it is, just a revision of the B car and just a slight update here and there to certain parts, then yeah, hopefully they can be, like I said, 2 to 3 tenths of a second quicker. That'd be pretty decent there for Aston Martin. And finally, we will go on to Williams, and this is the high flow Vizd Williams that we saw in practice 2. And this Williams car that Albon is running is the new updated Williams. The old Williams is the one that Nicholas Latifi is running. Further evidence that Latifi will not be in Formula 1 next year, because if he was going to be, they would have given him probably the car as well, or at least some parts of the upgrades that they have brought. But Williams, like I said, they brought, or have brought, pretty much a completely new car for this Grand Prix. It's great to see. And Alex Albon was, where was he? in practice 2. Let me have a quick look. Alex Albon was 14th. So, and he wasn't that far off the top 10, just over quarter of a second. So looking pretty good there for Alex Albon. And I'll try and get a picture up again that I showed yesterday to show the differences, the key differences, especially on the side pod with this Williams compared to the old Williams car. You can see here on the left of Albon, the new side pod where it's a lot straighter, and then with Latifi, it's just completely different, a massive bulge towards the end of it. And yeah, with Albon's picture on the side here, basically what Williams have done is go for the Red Bull side pod that obviously Aston Martin have done as well. So yeah, that's what Williams have done on the side pod there. And also you can see here the difference in the intake on the side pod, how much smaller it is compared to how it used to be. Obviously, Latifi's way, way bigger than Albon's. But also, these are the upgrades that Williams have brought. 12 upgrades to this Grand Prix. Front wing, front corner, side pod inlet, floor fences, floor body, halo, floor edge, diffuser, engine cover, cooling louvres, rear suspension, rear corner. Basically, a new car. Oh my. Given how, this is going to be a new thing really in Formula 1, now with the budget cap, that you're going to get teams bringing a lot of upgrades to one race rather than what they used to do is bring, one or two to, every 2 or 3 races that they could. With Williams, because obviously they're not going to be able to afford to bring an absolute ton of upgrades per season, I think this is what you're going to see from them, is them bringing just a completely new car like once a year, or maybe twice a year. Hopefully twice a year, because then they can get a bit further up the grid. But yeah, that's funny to see. But yeah, completely new car for Williams, and it's thought that it will give them a second per lap from now on with Alex Albon's car. Which means that Albon, probably from now on, if that is the case, and hopefully it is, it will probably mean that Williams will be now with Albon in Q2 quite a bit. And hopefully Albon this weekend can qualify, say, 13th, 14th. That would be pretty good. Because given the race pace he's had this year and the race performances that he's done and Williams have done this season, you never know. A point could be on offer here at Silverstone. Yeah, hopefully he can benefit massively from this upgrade. But I'll quickly come back to you guys in the chat and read out some more comments from you guys. Sparky Pete says, hello, here comes Mercedes. Wait until they start actually putting more performance in the car. Something Red Bull and the rest have been doing all year. Lab Gorilla, I feel for Mick. Hold on, yeah, it says, I feel for Mick. His name is so enormous that he just will never live up to it. The DNA was mixed with another person. He looks like a clone, but he isn't. Aline says, it sucks for Gasly. And also asks, who is the better driver, Ocon or Gasly? I think F1 would pretty much go for Gasly on that one. Maybe this season, though, you'd go for Ocon, but I think overall, talent-wise, you'd go for Pierre Gasly. Williams getting down to business, indeed. Taquette Online, I think it is, asks, could Toto, a 70% owner of Aston Martin, take money from this team to use for the Mercedes team? No, I don't think it would work like that, because he would still be spending the money for the Mercedes team / Mercedes F1 company, when for Red Bull, because AlphaTauri are also listed in terms of their finances under, Red Bull, because Red Bull are the owners, I think it's a bit more complicated on that front. Remco Van Dam says, stop saying hopefully. Well, hopefully, I can say it every time I talk about any team or driver this weekend. I'm not going to stop saying hopefully. And I think, as we've got a couple of people saying Latifi finished. Latifi, yeah. Latifi is absolutely in the mud, as my good friend Nib would say. But yeah, guys, that is it for the qualifying preview. Hopefully, you guys can join me tomorrow for for qualifying day at Silverstone. Like I said, I will be live starting at 11:45 a.m. UK time to do the practice 3 watch along until 1 p.m. UK time. Then at 1 p.m. I will start the qualifying watch along and get into that part of the day. And then from 1 p.m. till 3 p.m. UK time, I'll be building up to qualifying. Then from 3 till 4 p.m. UK time will be the session itself. And then from 4 till 4:30 p.m., half an hour after the session finishes, will be me reacting to the session itself. By the way, if you're wondering what am I going to talk about for 2 hours in between practice 3 and qualifying, I do have topics planned. Unfortunately, we're going to be talking about social issues in the, first hour of the 2-hour build-up to qualifying. We're going to be talking about the whole Hamilton PK, Bernie Ecclestone, Max Verstappen, all that stuff. We're going to be talking about it tomorrow in the build-up. And then we'll get into, once we get closer to, once we get closer to qualifying, say 30 minutes away, then we'll actually start looking at the teams and previewing how they're going to do based off of what they did in practice 2 and practice 3. So that's what the build-up is going to be tomorrow. But hopefully, between 11:45 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. UK time, hopefully you can join me at some point during the day, hopefully for qualifying itself at the very, very least. So, yeah, I hope to see you guys there. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Bottom right of the screen, you can do it right there. And as well, further from watching, don't forget to smash the like button and share this video and channel everywhere you can. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at ChazHD5. Don't forget to join my Discord server, link below in the description for more content like this. And also, make sure to watch the video in the description box. There's a link below to a video that I did on Monday called Why Max Verstappen and Red Bull are set to dominate Formula 1. Make sure to go and watch that after this stream finishes in a moment. But yeah, guys, until qualifying day tomorrow, hopefully I'll see you guys all there for that. Until then, guys, it has been me, ChazHD. Goodbye.